Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. Guys, in this video today, I hope that the content that I'm producing today will be an immense help to those trying to keep the scriptural Sabbath. Now, a lot of people do SUN Day Sabbath, SAT Day Sabbath. This video is really not tailored toward you, and I'm not about doing that kind of worship anymore on the pagan Roman papal satanic calendar. If you want to participate in that, you do you, boo. But for those that want to keep the scriptural clock in the heavens, set them in the heavens since Genesis, and you really want to follow through and do the right thing on that, this video is for you. And I just want you to understand that from somebody that used to be an SUN day keeper and an SAT day keeper, I don't say the pagan days of the week at all anymore if at all possible. Don't want to give any veneration or to any false deities, just like Deuteronomy and the Torah teaches us not to participate in. So just bear with me on that. But you know, like just looking back from 2009 to now, when I started out of Babylon, it was easy to watch your football games, go to Monster Truck Jam, do you, boo, and be able to, you know, do life on pagan calendar because you're going right along with most of the world too. When you start keeping SAT day now, it's a little harder because that cuts in on your football games. You can only watch the nighttime football games after sunset, and, you know, there's a lot of activities and events and stuff that, you know, always take place on the weekend, so that cuts you out there. But now when you start keeping the scriptural calendar, now, and the actual new moon days are being injected in, and the true Sabbaths and the festival days are being put in, the feast, you know, now that starts getting squirrely because, you know, you might have a new moon day fall on a T day on a pagan Roman week, and then the next new moon it might be on a TH day, and the employer's over here like, what the flip is up with this, right? So that gets kind of squirrely. And I've dealt with this since 2009 because I went from SU to SAT to scriptural calendar. And so I've got 7 different ways that I think I've actually participated in all these at some point, but for the most part, these are ways that you can still keep a job, keep employment, and honor the Sabbath. And I've seen in recent videos I've been making between positive comments, and of course people hate speech and etc. and things like that, especially like people that Gentile video I made about people coming over the truth from the nations. I know this is going to burn some people that's hateful, that says that the nations ain't going to make it in the kingdom, but in context of today's video, Isaiah 66:23 says all flesh will come worship, right? And from one new moon to another, one Sabbath another. Isaiah 66:23 lays out these details. So I know that's going to burn some people, but it's so long and short of it, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're a Hebrew Israelite by blood and descendant or you're a convert of the nations, these are 7 ways to help you keep the Sabbath and keep a job. I hope you enjoy. Number 1 is work seasonally. Now, I'm not saying go do Alaska's deadliest catch and work for 2 or 3 months straight out in the Bering Strait catching crabs, which we shouldn't be eating anyway. It's unclean. I'm not saying do something crazy. But there is a lot of seasonal jobs that I would almost qualify as gig work, but it's not the same because seasonal is for a considerable amount of time, right? So you could go work seasonally, and during that seasonal span, now, and also this depends on, you know, you have a family, is it just you, income levels, living conditions, do you have a home that can be moved mobily like an RV, a camper, a tiny house, or are you stationary like me? You know, there's a lot of factors you have to play in with these that I suggest, right? But they have worked. They have worked for me now in counting in 2 decades, right? So, because I've been in this since 2019, so 2029 will make 2 decades for me, right? 20 years in this. So seasonally is a great thing to do because pretty much you can just lay out with your employer, hey, these are the few days during the seasonal work that I cannot be there present for you. Okay, so just bear with me on that. And the days that Joe Blow and Bob and Tom over here can't work, and Tim, I'll fill the void. All right, so there's that. Now, that is not I put that one as the first one because, like, that is not a foolproof plan, but it is something that produces revenue, right? Like, I do off-grid construction, and some years it's seasonal, and some years it's all year long. With the election and with all these disasters locally after this past hurricane and everything else that's going on, it might be a very busy year next year. I don't know, you know, so that's yet to be seen. The next thing for somebody trying to keep Sabbath is part-time work. Okay, now I busted this in 2 different things. There's part-time work and then we'll talk about in a minute multi-job part-time and what I mean, why I delineated them differently. If you can get a good part-time job where people treat you right, I had a part-time job for Bass Pro, and they were very good to me, that I could work crazy shifts. See, I took the crazy shifts so that I could have my Sabbath off. So it never affected me. Furthermore, I took such crazy shifts, I could go do off-grid construction, not even be on the payroll list for the week or whatever. I mean, I was still employed, but I mean, I wasn't on the list for the week. And then I would go in, work all my shifts, and then be out and about again. And it was great. And they knew when I was going to be there, and they knew when I wasn't going to be there. And so, and there was never really ever dissension or argument, ever. And I worked for them for years doing operations support and maintenance. So I would do security sometimes, then I'd do maintenance, and I actually sold firearms, ammunition, stuff like that up at the hunting counter for a long time too. That toward the end, that was fun. But great job. Did it pay great? Flip, no. Does anything around here like that pay good? No. But especially with inflation to the point where things are double the price now, I mean, that's not an ideal situation. But once again, it's another revenue stream. All right, now the next thing on that is work a multi-part-time job. Now, the reason I say this is for a couple reasons. Balance, not dealing with stupid managers and etc., because you can go in and keep your faith on the lowdown. Now, I'm not trying to say don't be a believer, don't express the truth, don't serve the Most High. That's all I'm saying. Listen, a lot of these people, they're evil spirit-filled people, okay? I had worked a corporate job in Knoxville where this one guy was a complete and utter tool bag, and he took up a crucible against me just because of my worship. Seriously, true story. And it eventually ended with me fighting them in court over my unemployment because of the harassment stuff. I should have just sued the living daylights out of the place. But anyway, that's way years ago. That was like 2012 or something. It's way flip long ago now. But anyway, if you work a multi part-time job, the reason you do that is you tell one employer, I have 1 day a week that I can't be here. I'm tied up. You don't tell them it's Sabbath. You don't tell them it's worship, anything like that. Let them be oblivious. You just tell them, hey man, I'm sorry, these are the 1 block days a month that I just can't do it. These 5 days a month, which would be New Moon Day and your 4 Sabbaths, or if it's festival days or Day of Atonement or special, very special days, mark them off too. You know, I have an appointment that day, and you have an appointment with the Most High Yah. You just mark those down, right? And you just turn it in and be like, hey, if this works for you, like I can turn this in like almost a year at a time, right? I may have to adjust the day, but it'd be forward or backward a day. But I can let you know pretty much well out, okay? Before a lot of the sheets would be made for those weeks' work, right? And posted on the wall. Because most employers will keep, 2 or 3 weeks roster ahead for places, right? So, I mean, me and my guys, we do construction. We do what I would call gig work, right? Because we go do a gig, we come back, we hang out for a while, we get another job, we go do the gig. But that money floats us for a month or 2 months at a time. Well, I always let the guys know well in advance. This is the days we're going, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, so we don't want to interrupt everybody's lives. Plus, I'm not going to work on Sabbaths or New Moon days or festival days. So, I always have to configure all these. So, employers do this too, And so, you let the one employer know that. Then the other part-time employer, you let them know, hey, this is the 411, the same thing. And you run game on them. And so when you do that, they both block that out, and congratulations, you've created a full-time job out of 2 part-time jobs. Also, if one falls apart, you have a backfill. The other, you could possibly step in full-time and just make sure that they adjust with you. You've built rapport with them. This is work. This will work, okay? I've seen where this has worked because I've done this at 2 different employers. But now they knew I kept Sabbath. I didn't run game on them, okay? Everybody was in the know. But I worked for one, and in the available days I had the other, I went and worked gig work doing construction over here at the other. And then I still went and done off-grid, so I was triple tapping. And this was before I got into crypto mining, okay? So there's that. Now, the next one is hell on earth. I don't encourage anybody to do this. I got a bleeding ulcer because, like, my biomechanical clock in me just does not work with night shift working. I done this just because I needed to take care of my wife and my children, or my son at the time. I'm sorry, I had just the one at the time. But night shift work is hell. But the benefit of that is if you can work your shift out where you go in at sunset, and you got to calculate this out too, because, depending on where you live in the world, and the solstices and all that stuff, and time changes and all these things, you got to factor for the winter hours being shorter, and the darkness or the summer days being longer, right? So you've got to count the variances between the winter and the summer, right? But if you do this, guys, you can be very fluid with it. You can work in the night and still have your days and still have your Sabbaths, because from sunrise to sunset is the holy time that I set apart to worship the Most High Yah. Now, some people say it's from sunset to sunset, and that's a whole nother argument and all this stuff I'm not even getting into today. You do you, boo. And also, guys, if this video has helped you, like, share, subscribe, comment, and also if you want to donate to the channel, there's links in the video description below. I greatly appreciate it. All right, it'll help me and help my family and help the work of this ministry, because, man, everything's going up out here, right? So if you want to help the workers in the field, that's cool too. If not, I'm working a job. That's what we're doing today, helping everybody figure out how to work a job. So the next thing after night shift work, and like I said, I honestly should have put it last. I think it is the absolute pits of hell. Just gut-wrenching, horrible. Anybody that does that, shout out to you. I've done it, hated it. But you know what? I had to be a man, step up, take care of my family. So that was that. And I worked at a plastic chemical manufacturing place, whatever. It was just horrible, breathing that garbage stuff. I feel like that's why I have this cough and a lot of lung issues and things today from working that. I just done all sorts of crazy crap, take care of my family in years past. And that's also why, as I get older, I want more for less work. I'm sorry. This dude is not cheap labor anymore. If you don't want to pay me, I'll go somewhere I'll get paid. And if they don't want to pay me, then I'll go work for myself, and I'll do the crazy stuff that nobody else wants to do, so I get that money, baby. Because it ain't about the money. It's about stability in my life, and I'm like 1 or 2 more years away from having stability that, should things go Mad Max mode, I can at least go back to homesteading and take care of my family, right? And bartering and things like that with my neighbors and my community. And so I want that stability, and in order to do that, it just takes a lot of effort right now, double effort actually. And so the next thing would be self-employed. Now this is important, and you need to understand something. You can't just start a business tomorrow and all of a sudden it be booming. If you are, you're like in the 1 percentile, and good for you. Congratulations to you. Shout out to you, baby. But man or woman for getting that done. All right. But I'm looking right now, right across the way right here, I'm looking at my one of my crypto mine farms that I built, okay? And it prints money daily, or crypto, and, I convert that to cash, food, whatever. That thing right there took years to build. And it's only a passive income. It's not a constant everyday job. I wish it was. That would be epic. I would honestly just quit doing off-grid construction, do that full-time. That's great. But it don't work like that. And it takes a massive capital to just make it work like that out the gate. But the volatility in the market and everything too. But long and short of it, and I've got one honorable mention at the end of this video too, on top of the 7. But long and short of it, we'll get to that in a minute. That self-employment doesn't always cover the bills, okay? And me doing off-grid construction at times has not always covered the bills, okay? So you're living in an economy where you have to do multiple things. You may have to work a full-time job, part-time job, and passive income. You may have to be self-employed, part-time employed, work another part-time job. Guys, it's just the world we live in. It's just the economy. And I worry that after this election, we're going to have to make an additional adjustment just to the things that I'm mentioning right now. Okay? So for people that want to, work and, do self-employment, you need to work for the other guy or a corporation or a business or something else for the time being until you can work for yourself. Dolly, honey, come up here a second. Come up here a second. Just receive love. You just wanting petting today. This cat, every time I come out here to film, this cat is like, love me. And I'm like, Dolly, girl, I'm filming. She don't know. But self-employed, okay, very imperative. Very, very imperative. To be self-employed at this point in time. Like, if you have a skill, if you have a ability to create something, I build crypto miners now too. We print them, we put the boards in them, we put them in a box, put a ship tag, and collect a check, or collect a payday. That is a residual income at times, and it's just so important that if you have any skills, if you can paint for somebody. My wife's painting kitchen. I looked at the kitchen, the house, wow, it's just magnificent. I hate painting and plumbing. And my wife was just killing it. And I'm back there just, you get it, girl. You get it. I'm over here drilling out and putting the knobs in and the new hinges. I'm like, we got this here. I'm like, you go ahead. But you know what? For somebody that's a painter and you want to, there's somebody that don't want to paint like Luke. And guess what? Them people get paid to paint. I don't like mowing grass. I think it is the hugest waste of time. If I'm going to mow grass, it needs to go to the cattle out here. That is productive. Mowing this lawn is not productive, okay? They make sheep and goats for that. I pay somebody to mow my lawn. It gives them employment. That gives me time away where I can go do construction, which pays way more to offset the time that I would be doing that. And that gives that man a job. So there's always self-employment out there. But you have to be wise about that and figure out if that's going to work for you. And like I said, you have to work for somebody else most often or not until you can work for yourself. So there's that part. All right, now I got 2 more and then an honorable mention. We're done here. The next one is gig work. Now, let me just tell you, I've been a gig worker for years. I love it. I'm not a lazy person. I'm about to go do a job right now where it was hurricane damage, not from this one that just come, but from a previous one. And we're repairing their high voltage power. So everything's been fried. There's live wiring there. It's going to have to be disconnected live. I mean, it's crazy, risque stuff, y'all. Please forgive your servant. Save him and protect him on this. But that gig, because of what the nature of it is, we pulled it. And it'll be a decent payday. And because of that, we'll be in, and y'all willing, we'll be out. And then we'll be home for a few weeks. And then we'll go do another gig. And it's always up in the air. A gig worker, I don't care if you do like crazy off-grid construction like me, or if you drive Uber Eats. You never know where you're going. You never know what you're doing. I mean, you have an idea. You work in this scope of this realm that I work in, but I don't know which facet on the pie chart I'm doing today. Am I putting a wind turbine up? Am I putting panels up? Is the Uber Eats guy going to Applebee's? Is he going to Texas Roadhouse? He don't know where flip he's going, but he knows what he's doing. But he never knows when he's going to get called on to. So gig work is great. I personally love it more than anything because the reason being is even though it takes me far away from my family, it also allows me more time with my family on the back end because I'm not getting up and going to a 9-to-5 job 27 times a week or a month, or whatever. I'm not going to a normal atmosphere. And that'll eventually, if you can pull enough gigs, if you can line enough gigs out with some supplemental income, with some part-time income, seasonal income, something like that, you can get by too. All right, now the next thing is a remote job. Now, this is one thing. I've done remote work for people and got paid. It was more of gig jobs, though. It was remote work, but it was gig work. I mean, I liked it, but I don't like being behind a desk. I'm an outdoorsy person. I like being out in the world and doing my thing. I don't know. It's not for me. I mean, like, if I could do a remote job where that it paid me a ton of money, just for the sake of being home with my family, being able to take care of my mom close by and see my son, my girls, be with my wife. Yeah, I'd be down for that. I would take the L on my end of my patience being tested from just being in a cubicle all day or at home in my office working all day to just be able to be home, my family more. I'd probably take that L, but I don't know. It's just not for me. Okay. In this video, it's not about me. This is about getting the info out to you guys. But I would strongly struggle with that because I just feel like there's not structure and order, and that's very important to me. As somebody that's obsessive as compulsive as I am, and everything has to be, neatly stacked and in order. I don't know. It's not for me, but that's an option for you guys. Okay. Remote work. And that way you can keep the Sabbath, right? Now, the last thing and the honorable mention that I would put out there is passive income. Now, if you can do things with stock market, you're smart with numbers, do things with crypto trading. I've sat and done a lot of crypto trading, done well on it. I was held hostage at Children's Hospital when my oldest daughter got dehydrated when she got sick, and we got her fixed up, but they wanted, us to stay for some days or whatever. So, okay. And so, while I'm sitting there, I pull out my app, I start trading. I'm doing good. I made more money trading than I did working my part-time job and just sitting there. So, I mean, if I poured my heart into it, I think I could. I honestly don't want to apply myself to that. It's just, it's not in my wheelhouse right now. I think if I didn't have so many things going on, maybe that'd be something to do. But as a hobby, I have found that passive income and trading, mining crypto, investments, have an Airbnb or whatever, like you buy an RV park and rent out 20 slips. Okay, well, now there's you some passive income. Like you get an apartment complex. Like there's ways of doing this, guys, with the passive income. But once again, that requires investment. And a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. Folks, I can go maybe a month without any wages coming in. After that, we're going to be having some problems, okay? And so I understand, I really understand people's struggles out here, all right? And I've been dealing with this long time. I've been in this walk for a long time. I have had to adjust and readjust again and again. So I get it, okay? And so I hope what I've said in this video it will somehow empower you. That you can do what you need to employment-wise and still be able to honor the Most High's appointed times. Thank Him that He has always made a way for me to keep the appointed times, keep new moon days, Sabbaths, festival days, and going about my business. Sure, people hate speech me. They don't understand. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. Like people's known me now into decades and have not ever really been like, help me understand why this is. I just want to know. No, instead, they would rather just operate in ignorance and be like, this guy's an idiot. He just does this weird calendar and this weird worship, and I just don't understand the guy. But yet, the same book these people be carrying around literally details. I think the craziest thing of all, this is the last thing I'll say in this video, and I know this is off topic we're talking about jobs to be able to keep a Sabbath day, but I want to make this one point. For all you people out there willing to put in the struggle and the fight to keep the Sabbath, right? To obey Yah, right? Keep His commands. I think the wildest thing of all, when you really, really break it down, is that people say they love the Most High. They'll get the Bible out, they'll read it, they do all these things, right? But when it literally says New Moon Day, and you see that it was a worship day, people don't keep it. SUN Day Church, SAT Day churches don't do it. When they see festival days, most of these churches, most of these people out here today, they don't do it. The Sabbath, most of these people don't even do the Sabbath if they were going to count it from the seventh day on the Roman calendar. You don't even keep the right day on their count, bro. And just FYI to everybody, if you go back and look at the Roman calendar, SAT Day used to be the first day of the week, and SUN Day used to be the seventh day of the week. Just FYI, okay? And then sun worship became prominent, and it got moved to the first day of worship, and SAT Day got the boot. And you can look at that on the stick calendar and the Baths of Titus in Rome, I believe it is. You can look at a Fastes Antiantes Maioris calendar, a Roman Republic calendar, and you can see that it was 8 days, weeks there, with the last day of the week being a market day. You can just see all this stuff. I mean, if you go backwards, like the Roman calendar, all this crap just blows up in comparison to the scriptural calendar. But people don't care to know. And that's okay. You know what? Once again, you do you, boo. But for those of us that want to do the right thing, honor the Father, this is the cheat codes to life that I've gave you today. This is, when I was a kid, they had this thing called a Game Genie, and you'd put it in the NES, and that was your way of, getting past all these things and having all these extra gadgets and stuff to win your games. Well, that's kind of what I've gave you today, is the insert cartridge now that you can start getting these cheat codes in, because people struggling to keep the Sabbath and keep employment. I get it. I know it. It is it's not a problem for me to go to work. That's not the problem. The problem is juggling work and the Sabbath. Now that's the struggle. So guys, I hope this video has been a help to you. And as always, till we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, I hope Most High Yah baruch you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua name.